Fireworks erupted live on Talk TV as Mike Graham and Charlie Rowley unleashed a brutal attack on Keir Starmer's government after 50,000 migrants crossed the Channel under Labour. Graham sarcastically congratulated the Prime Minister on this tremendous milestone, whilst Rowley systematically destroyed Home Office officials as completely useless. The heated exchange escalated as they exposed taxpayer-funded ice skating lessons for asylum seekers and bureaucratic word salad excuses. Then came the hammer blow, the shocking revelation that government officials have absolutely no plan to stop the boats. Watch the clip. But before that, did you know that over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed? We get it. Life's busy, but subscribing is free and helps us keep making the content you love. Hit that button. It takes a second and means the world to us. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Charlie.
Good morning, man.
How happy are you that we finally reached this milestone that we can all be proud of? I was saying earlier, we should have had some kind of ceremony for the 50,000th migrant as he staggered off the boat into the arms of the waiting, border force people in Dover.
Well, you and your listeners will forgive me if I don't join in celebrations at number 10.
Yeah.
Might also be holding their head in their hands. But you're right, it's not smashing the gangs, it's smashing
the gangs,
records.
stopping the boats, taking them on, making sure that I'll tell you what we've got for you. This is a special treat, and you should be very pleased about this. There was a Home Office video that got put out back end of last week, which was quite long. So we've taken a little while to sort of break it down and find little highlights from it, right? And you won't be surprised to know there's a whole load of people on it who you've never heard of, okay? You might have heard of Martin Hewitt, the Border Security Commander, but you probably haven't heard of Duncan Capps, who is the Small Boats Operational Command, Kendall Barnett, Immigration Enforcement, Phil Douglas, Director General of UK Border Force, Rob Jones, Organised Immigration Crime, and Victoria Pullin, Home Office Intelligence. All of these people are going to explain to you over the course of the next hour exactly what it is that they do and how it is that they're going to stop the people from coming.
I look forward to it. I can't wait.
Should we start? Let's start with Martin Hewitt. He's the Border Security Commander. If you can make any sense of any of this, by the way, jump in at any time. Have a look.
My name is Martin Hewitt and I am the Border Security Commander. Border Security Command has been developed to ensure that we can deliver collectively all the different elements of the system. So this is not a new organisation coming and having a particular responsibility. It's coming and sitting across all of the different ways that we seek to have a secure and effective border. We've also got the advantage that the government are very clear about how they want to reset the relationship with the European Union, and there's been a lot of really great interaction happening. I will be using my role as Border Security Commander to ensure that we are coordinating across the system. I'm determined to deliver, and I'm confident that how we're going about that will give us the best chance that we've got of success.
Anything?
Oh, sorry, I think
Did you zone out?
I closed my eyes for a second.
He talks about working with the European Union. But these are the people that are supposed to be smashing the gangs and stopping the boats and actually preventing people from landing here. But all they do is talk about delivery, and there's a sort of new Labour speak about what it is that they're supposed to be doing. Have a look at this. This is Duncan Capps, Small Boats Operational Command.
The problem that we're trying to defeat is a transnational, complex, complicated and wicked one. The initiative that the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister put into it brings new resource to match our aspirations to be able to interdict those gangs with, I think, the right mechanisms under the new powers that we will get, and I think the right people to be able to do that.
Yeah. They're supposed to be stopping the guys. Just remind them they're supposed to be just stopping the boats. A dinghy is coming over the channel. It's got a lot of people in it. You stop it. You arrest them, you send it back, right? Let's try Kendall Barnett, Immigration Enforcement, see if he knows any better.
People thinking that they're coming over here as carers, then end up going into kind of sex work. It's not what it is that's sold to them originally.
What? They come over here as carers and end up as sex workers? Yeah. That's a new one on me. Let's try Phil Douglas, Director General UK Border Force. Any clues? How are we going to fix this?
These gangs aren't like narcos or the mafia. they're much more flexible. You arrest one bunch of them and immediately there are more people there. I think in the past perhaps we've lacked that focus, particularly when it comes to working with countries overseas. These crimes are being committed in France, in Netherlands, in Germany, and we'll need to rely on our international partners to identify, arrest and prosecute these individuals. And that's the focus that the Border Security Command also brings. Also looking at our asylum processing and our immigration enforcement, so that the whole kind of migrant journey is within the purview of Border Security Command, and that's not something that we've really had before. The recent agreement that's been signed with Germany, that means that Germany will be able to use its legislation to stop the transit of small boats materials going through Germany.
Can you just stop the bleeding boats, right? What's he talking about Germany for? And by the way, they're not just committing crimes in Europe, in the Netherlands, in France, in Germany. They're committing them once they get here as well. So they come here and then they start committing crimes in Britain as well. I'm struggling really here because I'm just trying to find somebody who works in this area who actually knows what they're talking about. Let's try Rob Jones from the National Crime Agency.
There isn't one thing which will solve the organised immigration crime. It requires concurrent pressure in a number of different areas at the same time. It's not as simple as just identifying a warehouse where drugs are being stored, linking somebody to that and arresting them. The parts of the evidential jigsaw are spread across Europe and much further afield. The most significant success, which really encompasses the business model and describes best what we can do and what we need to do at scale, was our Operation Punjam against an individual called Rahimpour. Now, that individual moved thousands of migrants and large quantities of equipment which we used to transport those migrants to the UK.
All boats benefits fast. Asylum seekers in Oxford can get cut price entry to the city's leisure centre for £2.10, which includes access to an ice rink. Normally, it would cost you £11.10. So taxpayers are stumping up a 79% subsidy.
Yes.
That's nice, isn't it?
Very nice. And I'm
very popular in Eritrea, I'm told, ice skating.
The tall Valentines are waiting of Eritrea.
Tall Valentine of Eritrea. Bring it on. The Winter Olympics are not far away. Let's train a few of them up.
Yes, and the only defence, which doesn't happen very often for obvious reasons, but I will try and give to the government, central government, is that I think this sounds like a local government scheme. So this will be Oxfordshire County Council, I assume, or a district or borough council within it.
It's still our money.
But it is still taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
So when your listeners hear from local councils that they are cash-strapped and they can't afford adult social care services, they can't afford children care services, they can't afford SEN provision for your young people, they can't afford a cut in business rates for local shopkeepers and businesses. Ask your council why, because they are cutting money, they are subsidising those kinds of initiatives for people that should not be here in the first place. That is your local authority directing your local hard-working cash in areas that the public clearly don't want to be going
And
into.
also, who's behind this kind of nonsense? You know, who in their right mind thinks that these people who are coming here need to get a discount on bloody ice skating? They don't need it.
Yes.
Do they?
No.
Why should they get a discount on ice skating?
No, I'm all for if you've come into the country legally, if you've applied.
Sleepers have lined Oxford Street with makeshift beds after a migrant shanty town was cleared. And I don't know if you know Oxford Street well, but if you go around the back of John Lewis, there's a sort of there's a square behind it where there's a car park underneath where I sometimes park, just at the bottom of Harley Street. And all along there, because it's got a sort of a slight sticking out bit, so you can it's safe from the rain, if you like. I'm trying to think of what the word is, but I can't think of what it is. Canopy. There you go. Thank you very much. There's a sort of canopy that runs down the side of this street behind John Lewis, and that's where they all sleep. And so now there's about 40 people sleeping there, and they're all migrants, and they've come from God knows where. They obviously haven't got a room in a hotel for whatever reason. They might be people who have come by another means, so they haven't come through the border force kind of checkpoint, if you like, and they've just somehow got themselves into London, and they're sleeping on the streets. And it's a terrible look. It looks awful. It looks like a third world country.
Yes, I think that's why. I know there's a lot of chatter in some of the papers about kind of accommodation that you might give to people that come in small boats. So shutting down those hotels, yes, I think everybody wants to see that.
Right.
But when the conversation leads into, they can sleep in tents like everybody else, I don't actually think. I can understand the sentiment maybe at first, but when you actually then see what would be hundreds of thousands of people, no, because that would just, I think, increase crime. It will blight the community even more. It will cause even more community tension.
The answer is, guess what? Get them out of the country.
Exactly.
Deport them. Do
Exactly.
not let them sleep rough. Do not let them sleep in hotels. Do not let them sleep in homes. Get them out of the country. Send them back to where they came from.
Exactly, and that should be the, if I can put it like this, the eye on the prize.
Yeah.
You know, so there's no point, and no minister, shadow or otherwise, no one in the Conservative Party, Reform, or the government should be entertaining alternatives to such accommodation. The accommodation shouldn't be there. It shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be available.
They shouldn't be here.
People that come here should be deported. That is the prize. That is, do not lose focus of that goal, because the moment you do, that's when you get those 6 wonderful, highly paid
Keir Starmer
people.
seems to have made the leap, if you like, to the point where he says these people aren't supposed to be in this country. They don't have the right to be in this country. If they've entered the country illegally, we're going to deport them. That's what he said. But he's not doing it.
No.
Because, he's got this ridiculous one in, one out nonsense, right? Which is literally not worth the paper it's written on. And until he actually crosses that Rubicon and goes, I'll tell you what, all of those people in Downing Street, you're going to go down there, Downing Street, Oxford Street, you go down there this morning, you're going to pick them all up, put them in the back of a van, drive them to Dover and put them on a ferry and send them back to France, or by whatever means necessary, right?
Yes.
That's the only way to do it, surely.
Yeah, exactly, because what we
make their lives a misery, and they might just go back.
Well, and the 50,000 mark that we've hit today in record quick time is because there isn't that deterrent, and it shows that the UK is a soft touch. And the more that you see people being able to get away with what they're doing at the minute, or they're getting the freebies from local authorities, or they're getting freebies from the national government, they're getting the hotel and all the rest of it, all of the perks that we know that people get. That is the pull factor. So until you stop it, until you show as a UK we can flex our muscles and get a grip of the situation by deporting people, then they're just going to keep on coming.
They will keep on coming, and imagine how much the number will be when we get to December. Because we've still got, quite a few months of the year to go. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if you get another 25,000 between the end now. Knew that, I think. And Starmer says that he doesn't think it's a good idea to call shoplifters scumbags. This is on page 1 of the Daily Telegraph, because we must be polite to them, I suppose.
Yes, I mean, what a surprise. Again, when there is
why does he get everything wrong?
Yeah,
everything.
It is becoming, and to be, again, not that I've always become a government apologist. But, to give a bit of defence to the Labour Party, there are people clearly very unhappy and are giving the warnings to Keir Starmer that you've only got maybe 6 months left if you don't turn this around. So there are people clearly frustrated within government that he's getting absolutely everything wrong, including things like, which should be an open goal, due to scumbags shoplifting. Please ask for assistance. That is a sign that is basically on the back of a post-it note. I would have expected it to be, and I wanted it to be, completely on a shop front window to make it clear to people.
But that's what it is. I mean, North Wales Police have been told told the guy that put that up in his shop that he should take it down. But they've now had to clarify that basically putting the sign up isn't illegal. Of course it's not illegal.
No.
The guy owns the shop. He can put a sign up saying anything he likes, as long as it's not obscene.
And he's the victim. He is the victim of crime, of people that go into his shop. He's trying to make a living. He's trying to do a hard day's work and put food on the table for him or his family. And there are people that come in and violate that and take from him. He's entitled to put
And
up
this
that
also
sign.
comes hot on the heels of yesterday's decision by the data monitoring body in this country, who said if you use pictures of known shoplifters in your shop, if you put the picture up, you could be in breach of data protection laws. Get with the programme, guys. These are the bad guys. The people putting the pictures up are the good guys, and they want to stop them from stealing. They don't have any rights. I'm sorry, if you're a criminal, you don't have rights, in my view. You shouldn't have them.
Well, no, I mean, I think if you're... But it's just the whole chain of... Come on, somebody a member of the public apparently reported that sign. So they've walked past this man's shop, they've looked at that little sign, they've peered in through the window and thought, oh, he's used the word scumbag, how terribly offensive.
I know.
I'm going to call the police.
What's wrong with people?
And, but then the whole conversation amongst the police. Can you imagine a police
Police
officer?
should have just gone, shut up.
Yes.
And, if you don't like it, don't go in the shop.
Got real crime to fight, thank you, including going after the shoplifters.
Exactly. So, according to the Prime Minister's official spokesman, who was asked about this reference yesterday, it is not the language I would directly use, but we have been very clear through our actions that we take shoplifting seriously. We understand the blight that shoplifting has on our high streets and local business. No, you don't, because you haven't done anything about it. Well, because you haven't directed the police to stop it. You haven't directed anybody to do anything about it. Vigilante crime is on the rise in this country now because people haven't got any other choice but to take the law into their own hands. And whether the government likes it or not, that's where we are.
Well, I'm afraid to say that they have done something about it, Mike, particularly in London under Sadiq Khan. stickers on the road in Oxford Street. Mind the grab.
Mind the grab.
Which I don't think is funny at all.
No.
It's supposed to be a play on words, obviously, mind the gap in London Street. But the idea, if you've been a victim of crime, having your phone snatched out of your hand or your bike nicked, the idea that then you just walk down Oxford Street, as I think it was, a purple sign sticker on the road that says "Mind the grab."
I know.
I mean, you know, that's their response to tackling this kind of crime.
Yeah, it's all this kind of, you know, isn't it? Let's all be really kind of, you know, really cosy and funny about it, and let's just make, you know, an amusing little take on it, you know, because everybody knows every city is a bit dangerous. You know? And you get all these people like Fraser Nelson and John Rentoul, who I talk to on a regular basis, who are busy telling us, oh, you know, life in Britain is much better than it used to be. You know, this kind of, you know, slightly centre-left ridiculousness where they go, oh, but, you know, life expectancy is better than it was, and, you know, actually the murder rate's gone down, and actually there's less crime statistically. You know, they're all talking absolute BS.
Yes, and I'm afraid these are the same people and the same cohort of people, just like those Home Office civil servants, that will hide behind